participants of the seminar Literasi MONEV from Bappeda and civil society organization, academia from various caption regions in West Java, Banten, Bali, West Nusa Tenggara, East Java, Kalimantan, and Sumatra province. Welcome and welcome to join the third MONEV Studio seminar event. As an event to feel the end of 2020, MONEV Studio in collaboration with Regional Development Planning Agency of West Java and Banten Province held a MONEV literacy seminar with the themes integration and connectivity of national and regional development evaluation system, introduction and practical learning of result-based monitoring and evaluation system from various countries, achieved through holistic and continuous literacy. Ladies and gentlemen, purpose and objective of the third MONEV seminar are the first, to building complementary and supportive cooperation in planning and implementing the development program in the regions through better monitoring and evaluation practices. Second, contribute to increasing the MONEV capacity of development actors with a holistic and collaborative approach. Activity objective. In general, the seminar activity is aimed at increasing the capacity of MONEV province and district development stakeholders in West Nusa Tenggara, West Java, Banten, Bali, Kalimantan, Sumatra province, and so on. MONEV Studio products as an effort to encourage MONEV literacy are MONEV Podcast, MONEV Pedia, MONEV Learning, MONEV Chat, MONEV Handbook, MONEV News Indonesia Bulletin Volume 2, and Social Media Literacy Channel. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start presentation and discuss, let's open the seminar together today by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings to all of us. Greetings of kindness. Om Santi Santi Om. Next, we submit the event to the moderator of the seminar, Ms. Umi Hani. Time and seminar we invite. As introduction, Umi Hani is a professional in development evaluations who has been working for many bilateral and multilateral organizations in Indonesia for the past 18 years. She holds Bachelor of Arts and Master of Economics in Public Policy and pursuing Advanced Master Pre-Doctoral Studies in Development Evaluation. She is now an evaluation expert for large-scale and strategic programs with bilateral and multilateral organizations in Indonesia, such as GIZ, DFID, World Bank, JK, and UNFPA. She is the founding members of Indonesian Development Evaluation Community, INDEC, board director of Asia Pacific Evaluation Association, APEA, and management member of Evaluation. She is the founder of MONEV Studio, startup to promote sustainable development, evaluation literacy, and inclusiveness. Next, Ibu Umi, please time and invite you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Iwan, for the opening and also the introductions. Bapak and Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to present in English, but also our colleagues from MONEV Studio will, Mas Fajar here is keen to provide simultan translation through MONEV to chat box. I hope this is fine. But of course, during the process, we will use bahasa or English in combinations. So, Bapak and Ibu, Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, Professor Romeo Santos, and Honorable Bapak Indra from Bappeda West Java, we thank you so much for your kind support for this event by co-hosting of this MONEV Safari together. So Bapak and Ibu, before we start the discussion, so I would like to provide why we are discussing about result-based monitoring and evaluation system now. So basically, today is a very important event for the future advancement in developing a monitoring and evaluation system in Indonesia, and also to facilitate South-South learning in evaluation. So we have Professor Romeo here, who is very active at the regional level and also at the global levels, and he is also very active in his own country, in Philippines. So I think this is a very good opportunity. But allow us to provide a brief introductory on the general conception why we discuss about the RBME. So basically, Indonesia has made progress toward building a national monitoring and evaluation system. A transformation of the national MNE system after the Reformation era, after the Suharto. So this evolved in pushing for performance-based agenda supported by laws and regulation that depict the strong commitment of the government of Indonesia to hold accountable to the achievement of long-term or medium-term development target. This is very clear. So according to the case study, even on the national evaluation system conducted by UNDP and UNICEF in 2017, so this is a case study together with many countries. So they said that Indonesia MNE infrastructure of the government bodies is the most impressive one in Southeast Asian countries. So we should be proud about that one, Pak Taufik, and also all participants here. So MNE related rules and regulation are in place, but of course we have still have some challenge, including a long way to build an evaluative thinking and learning culture. So I think this is a very good opportunity to start this, to facilitate this thinking and also learning and discussion about evaluation. And also generally government and organization face an increasing pressure, both from internal and external, to demonstrate accountability, transparency, and also results. Demand is quite high on the quality of evaluations day by day. And then result-based monitoring and evaluation system are a powerful public management tool to achieve this objective. Result-based MNE system can help build and foster political and finance support for policies, program, and project, and can help government build a solid knowledge base. So we believe on this, and today we are very lucky to have a panelist who is known as evaluation thought leaders. So we have Professor Romeo, we have Dr. Tawfiq, we also have Dr. Indra. Thank you. And amazingly, they also have a very important authority, both in evaluation and also development planning in the country, as well as at the regional level. So this third MONEV Safari by MONEV Studio is part of our social mission to promote and advocate influencing MNE in the country. And we believe today's sharing session and discussion will provide us with space to reflect back on, are we moving into more influencing evaluations? We are busy, but day by day is evaluation more bring into the central of the development. And surely this question will rise here. To what extent this result-based monitoring and evaluation approach will help us to improve, advance the rules, regulation, and more importantly, to facilitate evaluative thinking and also learning culture in Indonesia. But surely, we also aware that building the cultural shift is necessary, but takes time. Also commitment and political will. So at least this is a very good indication because the important evaluation leaders in the country, Dr. Tawfiq is here. So we should be more optimistic. So Bapak and Ibu, before I give the floor to Dr. Indra Sofyan, allow me to introduce him. So Dr. Indra Sofyan will give an opening speech and also overview of the MONEV system and implementation in West Java. So Dr. Indra Sofyan has been working for many areas and sectors as government official for quite long. So now he is the secretary of the Regional Development Planning Agency of West Java Province. And he earned his doctoral degree in environmental engineering from Bandung Institute of Technology, Indonesia. He also earned a master with the same in environmental science from University of Diponegoro and BA in environmental engineering from Bandung Institute of Technology. So Dr. Indra is actually from the same alma mater with Dr. Tawfiq. So before we move to the next panelist, Dr. Tawfiq and also Professor Romeo, allow us to give the floor to Dr. Indra first. Dr. Indra, please, the floor is yours. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Umi. Selamat dan terima kasih juga buat Bapak Ibu sekalian yang sudah ada di sini ya. First, I would like to apologize because I'm late join you because I've just come from Semarang, so I went fast to office because I need to attend this moment. Okay, and second, I would like to apologize to you all because Pak Tawfiq, I'm sorry, I always confuse if when Ibu Umi call Pak Tawfiq ya, because my boss already the same name with Pak Tawfiq Hanafi, Pak Tawfiq Budi Santoso. He asked me to represent this event to open this discussion or FGD. Okay, I would like to read Tawfiq BS speech. Please, I'd like to open the, no, it's okay, just by me. Okay, speech of the head of the Regional Development Planning Board of West Java Province on the third Monitoring and Evaluation Seminar or MONEV for intermediate and advanced level. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi. Salam kenal Pak Tawfiq. Saya Indra Pak. I heard that from Bu Umi, you are from ITB also, right? ITB. Jurusan apa, Pak?
Teknik industri.
Wah, teknik industri. That's the high level. Okay, Pak Tawfiq as a Deputy Minister in Development Monitoring, Evaluation and Control, Ministry of Development Planning or Bappenas, Bapak Ibu sekalian ya. And second is Professor Dr. Romeo Santos, President of Asia Pacific Evaluation Associations, University of Philippines. Good afternoon, Pak Romeo. Can you speak bahasa? No?
Oh, sorry, Dr. Sofyan.
Okay, it's okay. I will try to speak in English.
There are some words in our language that are bahasa actually.
Oke. Oke, Bapak Ibu sekalian, khususnya teman-teman Pemda provinsi maupun kabupaten kota yang hadir di sini ya. Saya akan mencoba untuk membuka acara ini dan membacakan speech-nya dari Pak Kepala Bappeda Provinsi Jawa Barat, Pak Tawfiq Santoso, yang saat ini berhalangan hadir, begitu ya. Mudah-mudahan tidak mengurangi rasa hormat kami dan terima kasih. Saya kira momen ini suatu event yang sangat baik begitu ya bagi kita dalam rangka memonitoring evaluasi gitu dan menjadi bagian tugas kita sehari-hari. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and peace be upon us. On behalf of the government of West Java Province, please allow me to convey a warm greeting to all speakers, Pak Taufik and Pak Romeo, and attendants or participants from many province and kabupaten regional. We are very honored to be host the special occasion. Thank you very much, MONEV. The third monitoring and evaluation seminar for intermediate and advanced level. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude and high appreciations to MONEV Studio for the initiative in organizing the seminar. Hopefully, this seminar could give us information about the practice of result-based monitoring and evaluation system from global experience. Ya, jadi mudah-mudahan Bapak Ibu sekalian, seminar ini bisa memberikan wawasan buat kita bagaimana monitoring dan evaluasi di beberapa negara, khususnya especially from Filipina, I think, from Pak Romeo, right? In result, we can improve the MONEV capacity in regional development that integrated and connected to the central development. Ya, jadi mudah-mudahan nanti pelajaran ini bisa kita implementasikan begitu ya, dan tentunya adalah terhubung atau ada inline antara pemerintah daerah, kabupaten, provinsi dengan pemerintah pusat. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, West Java Province has 27 regencies and cities with total population reaching 49.94 million people. I don't know, in Philippines, how many people?
We are now 110 million.
110 million. It's a Philippine or in Manila?
In Manila, we have around 12 to 13 million.
Oh.
Greater Manila.
All right. As well as the most populous province in Indonesia. It's around 20% of Indonesia populations. So the biggest province in Indonesia and the biggest population in Indonesia also. Development in West Java ranks in a planning document. Monitoring and evaluation are needed in its implementation to create public welfare, right? Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian ya kira sama ya di Provinsi Jawa Barat dan di beberapa kabupaten kota dan provinsi pun tentunya bahwa perencanaan itu disusun dengan baik begitu ya. Hal yang sama juga monitoring dan evaluasinya sebagai bagian dari pelayanan publik begitu ya dan pertanggungjawaban kepada publik. Monitoring and evaluation in West Java has been integrated in Sirampak Sekar system. We call the Sirampak Sekar system. Starting from planning, budgeting, evaluation, and monitoring. Ya, itu Bapak Ibu sekalian. Jadi kalau di Provinsi Jawa Barat kita sebutnya adalah Sirampak Sekar begitu ya. Tetapi today Ministry of Affairs, Kementerian Dalam Negeri has made one single system in planning and budgeting. We call that SIPD, Sistem Informasi Pembangunan Daerah. So this system will be used by all kabupaten and provinsi. The same system. There is no different system in planning and budgeting in every province or region, kabupaten kota. Ya, I think Bapak Ibu sekalian dari profesi dan pembangunan sudah mengenal the legal of the system is the Ministry of Affairs number 90/2020. Monitoring and evaluation between national and regional government must be integrated and connected. I think Ministry of Affairs has made already, so that the existing result and data can be quickly accessed for further.
Itu di mute itu.
Suara Pak Indra ke mute kayaknya. Kepencet mute.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't touch my laptop. But unfortunately, sayangnya begitu ya, this system, single system, has not been connected with the system created by Bappenas. Yeah, because Bappenas manage the planning and budgeting for central government (APBN), but the SIPD, local government information system, is only for the local government budgeting (APBD). So there is no connected between the system. Is that right, Pak Tawfiq? Ya. Central government system is the I forget the name is the name. I would like to highlight one of the purpose of the seminar, that is contributing in improving MONEV capacity of all development stakeholders through holistic and collaborative approach. Ya, jadi ya kita berharap bahwa seminar ini memberikan kontribusi terhadap improvisasi kita ya, dengan sistem yang sama, tetapi kita juga masih bisa untuk merencanakan secara holistik begitu ya, dan dengan pendekatan kolaborasi dengan berbagai stakeholder. It is in line with the West Java vision. West Java is the center of excellence through innovation and collaboration. This is the vision of my governor, Pak Ridwan Kamil. Hopefully Pak Romeo knows him. The importance of innovation and collaboration in monitoring and evaluation is the result of MONEV expected to be more focused, detailed, having a clear and measurable indicator by all government level according to their authorities. Yeah. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end my speech by expressing our gratitude for the holding of the seminar. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Terutama untuk para peserta, saya harap meskipun even in the English speech ya, para peserta harus terus hadir begitu ya, mengikuti seminar ini, dan saya yakin seperti yang sampaikan tadi bahwa ini akan sangat bermanfaat gitu. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Hopefully we are blessed with health, happiness, and the ability to give the most benefit for the rest mankind in development. Mohon kita harus tetap jaga kesehatan Bapak Ibu sekalian di saat pandemik seperti ini, begitu ya. Tetap jaga protokol kesehatan, paling tidak 3M, memakai masker, mencuci tangan, dan menjaga jarak. I think the same situation in Manila or Philippines, right? This is the pandemic COVID still occur in global, right?
Yes. Really.
Yes. I hope you, Pak Romeo, and your family is healthy, right?
Thank you very much.
Demikian Bapak Ibu sekalian yang bisa kami sampaikan ya sebagai pembuka, dan beberapa hal yang sudah kami sampaikan bahwa ini akan sangat bermanfaat. Kita akan menjelang atau menghadapi dengan sistem informasi yang sama dari Kemendagri, kemudian nomenklatur program yang sama ya, seluruh Indonesia tidak ada lagi nomenklatur program, kemudian kegiatan begitu ya, yang berbeda antara Provinsi Jawa Barat, NTB, di Kalimantan dan lain sebagainya, even kabupaten kota begitu ya. Tetapi saya kira ini tidak membuat kaku kita dalam membangun begitu ya. Tentunya tetap melakukan inovasi dan kolaborasi. Demikian, thank you very much to your all. Enjoy your seminar and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Indra.
Ya. Terima kasih. Thank you, Dr. Indra, for a very great overview about the MNE system and implementation in West Java. So you highly highlighted about the Sirampak Sekar system and also the information system of the local government, the SIPD, which is highly influencing the evaluation practices in West Java. So you also have or raised a very high expectation toward this sharing session, that by the end of the session we will have something or inspiration on how to make this vertical and horizontal system more communicated or integrated and connected. So thank you again, Dr. Indra, for a very nice presentation. Now, so because we will have two more panelists, Dr. Tawfiq and also Professor Romeo, so we can have the discussion later after the last panelist. I hope this is okay. Mudah-mudahan Bapak Ibu tidak masalah ya. Kami juga mohon maaf selama sesi diskusi di chat room-nya juga belum bisa berdiskusi karena dipakai untuk translation. Tapi nanti Bapak Ibu akan kami sediakan forum diskusi yang cukup panjang. Baik. So the next is Professor Dr. Romeo Santos. So he will present about building a robust, effective, and efficient result-based monitoring and evaluation system, learning from global experiences. So I would like to introduce him. So Professor Romeo is the chair of the Philippines Evaluators for Development, or PhilDev, the national organization of development evaluators in the Philippines. He is also the executive director of Berbagai MNE Institute, a non-profit MNE think tank that builds evaluation capacity in both public and also private sector, including NGOs in the country. He was the past president of the Asia Pacific Evaluation Association. So we also worked together at that time. And then he was also the member of Board of Trustees of the International Organization for Cooperation in Evaluation, the IOCE. So this is the father of evaluation society in the world. So he also the co-lead of the Corporate Self-Evaluation Working Group at the European Evaluation Society, which is a very important evaluation society in the regions and also global. He also the member of the International Development Evaluation Association, IDEAS, the Global Evaluation Society for Professionals since 2008. He was a Fulbright scholar and visiting professor in the US in 2009. And Professor Romeo has a PhD in architectural engineering. So basically, like Dr. Indra and also Dr. Tawfiq, all are engineers. So Professor Romeo has majored in project management and economics. He is a training provider in result-based monitoring and evaluation and also result-based strategic planning. He is a professor at the College of Architecture, University of the Philippines, Diliman. So his career is built around a combination of industry, academic, international development practices along wide front in many disciplines, including organizational development, capacity building, program design, and many others. So Professor Romeo, with this outstanding achievement and profile, the floor is yours for around 30 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Umi, for those nice words that you mentioned. And I would like to thank you all and greet all of you, Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi. I'm very glad to meet you again since Helsinki a couple of years ago. And also a great presentation from Honorable Dr. Indra Sofyan.
Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Indra Sofran, and I really like your presentation, especially mentioning about the Philippines. In the Philippines, we have a very grave situation in pandemic. We are only 110 million population, maybe 3 times Indonesia has more, but ours is really heavy, and we have the strictest quarantine process in the world, I think. And thank you for that. I would like to greet also all the participants. Of course, Umi, the moderator, Iwan, and Pajar, those who helped me out in the preparation. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to start my presentation. And actually before that, I would like to mention to you that I have been mentioning to Umi during this free discussion that I and my colleagues and many here in the Philippines believe that Indonesia is a leading powerhouse in resource-based M&E in the region. And you are more advanced than the Philippines, the things that we have here in the Philippines, because I could see that you are very active and really energetic in resource-based M&E and evaluation. In the Philippines, we have sporadic, although there are some organizations that are leading, but not comparable to what you have in Indonesia. And specifically, this event or the thing that we are doing now, you can rarely hear from the Philippines that we are having this seminar connecting the subnational, the regional to the national. And it's really a very great event that you are holding. Now, I would like to start and put on the premises. I want to stick very well to the topic that you gave me. It's about the resource-based monitoring and evaluation system. I'm going to talk about my experiences, the state of the evaluation system in the Philippines, and also the advances that many countries have made. So my presentation will revolve around that. I would like to start with this definition of the system, because the word system has been very much used in monitoring and evaluation. When we hear results-based monitoring system, actually it's more of a methodology or even a framework. It may not be a comprehensive plan or a roadmap for RBNB system. And that's why you see here in the dictionaries, the Oxford dictionaries, kind of a structure, a framework, or maybe a skeletal, something like that about the monitoring evaluation. How we hope we could have a comprehensive roadmap, the whole system for the implementation of results-based monitoring and evaluation. So in this aspect, different countries, different states, different organizations are having variety of levels in terms of having the results-based monitoring system. Thank you. Can we have the next slide? Now, I would like to start with the basic principles, because we are talking here about the results-based monitoring evaluation system. Very different from the traditional one, M&E, that we have in the past. Here, we emphasize on the results and outcomes. And the difference between that and output, which we used to measure in the past, depend on this definition. Outcomes or results involve change of behavior, change to or existence of an enabling environment that supports the change. But outputs are deliverables, mostly physical, and they are products of the activities or the intervention. So the results are linked to goal, and our national goals are this: self-sufficiency, increased employment, social order, gender equality, environmental sustainability, and better quality of life. Now, why am I emphasizing this? Because we have to talk about results-based, the difference. Based on my experience dealing with the international organizations, even national and local, we have actually a trend of application of results-based M&E system, even the methodology in evaluation. But in reality, based on my viewpoint and some of my colleagues' viewpoint, still many countries, many organizations are using the name, but in reality, still emphasizing on the output. And this should be actually improved as we go along the process of being matured in RBM&E system. Can I have the next one, please? Now, this is a concept about policy, program, project, or even our organizations. We intervene to make a change in principle. That's the reason we have policies, programs, or even organizational initiative or project. And for us, based on the learning that we have in RBM&E, change is considered measurable, positive, or negative. It can be a health program, educational course, climate change project, or environmental policy, even an advocacy NGO, public-private venture. All of these are for change. And why do we use a results-based M&E? To measure performance and determine the success of this. Please, next slide. Yes, the next development concept that I'm gonna share with you is this. In graphic, we have a goal that ties in all the policy, program, and project. And our goal is related to the nation's building. And that is actually the primary goal of the program and the results desired. So if we have different goals for program, policy, or project, that will be a trouble actually. For instance, the policy here in the Philippines about universal education. There's a policy for that everyone should be enrolled. Now we have a program under this policy, which is the K-12, K+12, because normally we have a short period of learning or education. Now we could have a project under a program, building schools, building roads, and building libraries and many others, or training teachers and so on and so forth. But what about the goal? They should tie up. The goal is very important because that's the reference we have in order to measure our performance. Goal is synonymous to the impact or the long-term outcomes or results that we're trying to attain. The next slides, please. And there are many milieux and scales and instruments of intervention. And we have the goal here, we have here in the global, we have here in the system, we have here in the policy. By the way, BHAG is defined here, that we use in the strat plan. Big, hairy, audacious goal developed by two master students of Stanford in around 1995. And this is for strategic planning, goal, vision, mission, objectives. Any website of companies and academia, you will see all of this. And even Vatican City has goal, mission, goal. And that's actually the BHAG. This is very important in results-based M&E because when we look for the result or the impact, that is the desired change that we want to achieve. And that is synonymous to the goal. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Now, when we want to integrate and connect the systems, we have in different levels. A while ago, I've shown you the different milieus or levels. There's this human side actually, or more than the social side. There are three actually that I can identify. Maybe you could add some more. In the levels of integration, global, regional, state, national and subnational, and cities, and so on. And we have organizational, department, agencies, and other functionaries of government. But I think this graphic would show us that in order to integrate and connect, we have to have a healthy communication. We have to have a common language and one line of thought. Now, in the practice right now in RBM&E, which is naturally characteristic of a maturing or growing practice, we have different languages right now. subject to debate. For instance, we debate on outputs, we debate on outcomes. Many practitioners of old conventional way of M&E, many would not agree that inputs are not results or outcomes. And that will become a trouble when you identify the outcomes and the indicators. Such that we have to have line of thinking about how this integration would be, how would be the practice. And including here is that, of course, the qualitative and quantitative war. There are a lot of this actually. Now, I would say that this is normal because we are growing up in results-based M&E. And notably, it started only around 1995. The Philippines embraced it in 2012 or 2010, very, very new. Although we have the traditional and conventional M&E. Okay, and thank you for this slide. Now, I would like to revisit the conventional program project cycle. Sorry for the spelling. In the conventional project cycle or program cycle, we have, of course, the identification, preparation, appraisal, detailed design, implementation, and we have here the stages of monitoring and evaluation. Actually, this is from our NEDA, the Bapinas of the Philippines in the past, mostly for infrastructure project. I know that Dr. Tawfiq and Dr. Indra would relate to this. They are engineers. And next slide, I would like to illustrate how RBM&E would relate to this conventional program and project cycle. Please, next slide. Now, in the viewpoint of RBM&E practice, monitoring and evaluation should be actually all throughout the program cycle. Even if the program is still being identified or being designed on the table, RBM&E should start not only here at the part where you have the implementation already going on. Now, ideally, RBM&E should be in all these. Collection of the data, and then stage-by-stage assessment, and the evaluation, which is periodic in the whole length of the program implementation, or even after, years after the implementation or turnover of the project. So that is the nature of results-based M&E system. Thank you, Umi, and the next slide, please. Now, if we link RBM&E system, there are some elements in our organization, even in our government. There should be a coherent framework connecting various elements. Could be in the executive department, perhaps in a corporation, or in a say, Department of Agriculture, the HR, Planning and Policy Department, the strategic planning, even the knowledge management, MIS, budgeting, performance implementation, and even field operations, where we get the data from the ground source or zero source of data, 0 point source of data. Now, in states, I think not only the executive, even the legislative, and even the judiciary should be involved. And that's why later on, I'm gonna show you how would be the enabling environment in evaluation. Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. This is very small. I hope that you could read it. Actually, I quote it from our professor. Umi and I were batchmates, not actually different batches in IFDET. And this is from Dr. Ray and the authors, the SEC, where they have the critical elements on RBM&E system, where the demand, clear roles and responsibilities, trustworthy and credible information, accountability, capacity, and incentives. These are from their vantage point, the elements of an RBM&E. And these are actually the definitions they have. Can I move to the next slide, please? According to them also, there are key criteria of credible RBM&E system: reliability, validity, and timeliness. Those from the two guys that respect in the practice. Now, these are side points in the RBM mini system anyway. But I know that you are excited to hear about the experiences and so on, and how the RBA system could link with the different levels. Let me go on. The next slide. Now, I want to describe the case of the Philippines first. I told you a while ago that Indonesia is very much advanced, actually, especially in the ground level. Here in the Philippines, I mentioned that we embraced RBME in 2010 during the new administration of Aquino. But actually in 2011, we were able to come out with joint memorandum on the National Evaluation Policy. That was a year after the 2010, the Aquino administration getting into the position. This is about the National Economic Development Authority and Department of Budget and Management. It's only governmental or departmental memorandum. Now in 2011, we have also this results-based performance management system that was implemented. In 2011 also, we have this results-based budgeting, improving the link between planning, but more of in the budget and departments. We have in 2016, the new administration of President Duterte, we have the PDP results matrices, a development roadmap. Now, what happened to this? 2011, NEDA DBM joined. It was actually stopped during the new administration, 2016, for the reason of review. They said they found gaps. So there was no implementation of this, meaning that we are in a stalemate. Different organizations have their own local RBMNE practice, but in the Philippines, we are not moving so much. But it's a good news that in 2019, during the second APEA conference where UMI was there and presented, performed very much roles in APEA, being a board member, there was this senator of the opposition that authored the bill, an act establishing national evaluation policy, still a bill. And in July 2020, this year, during the pandemic, another law was authored by a senator who is connected with the administration. It's no other than the daughter of President Ferdinand Marcos, an act establishing a results-based national evaluation policy. So we are there in the Senate, in the Congress already for passing the law. And the last news that I got from the board member of APEA, which is from our field dev, and he is the executive director of the economic planning and policy in the Senate. So he said that there's not so much opposition, and they do away with the committee review, and it will go straight to the plenary. It seems so. I hope that the law for RBMNE would be approved soon. Next, please. Now, how about the institutional capacities for evaluation in the Philippines? The designated public institution is for evaluation is NEDA, the equivalent of Bapinas, or NEDA being, of course, similar to Bapinas in Indonesia. There are some champions or cadres in public institution, but sporadic, not so many. They have public staff. There are planning units that are now transformed into MNE, but basically the practice is emphasizing on the outputs, although they use the results-based concept and supposedly the practice. Now, in terms of technical capacity, there are varying levels, basic to intermediate. We have limited budget. Actually, we have to push more to bring up to the level of policymakers the idea of results-based MNE. Unlike here in Indonesia, where you have a very big-time champion in the person of Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, the deputy of Bapinas, minister of Bapinas. And also, of course, in Java, which is a very big province, Dr. Indra Sofyan. And it's really heartwarming to hear and to see that you have like that. I hope we have the same people here in the Philippines who will push the BMNE or the evaluation course to the higher level. And that's one specific example why I said Indonesia is more advanced than the Philippines. Now, availability of guidelines, well, the practice still nascent, maybe intermediate in some ways in other agencies. In terms of guidelines, it's from basic to nascent to none, actually. We are only copying, perhaps, from the global practice. So, next slide, please. So that's about the nature on the Philippines, the status of RBMNE system being implemented. Now, I would like to share with you my experience in training and establishing RBMN system in some organizations or departments in the Philippines. And basically, I have been serving the Department of Agriculture as a consultant for a couple of years now, and we are trying to establish the RBMNE system and to roll it out. By the way, I will be talking about the nitty-gritty details of how interconnectivity and integration would be in different agencies, the technical side, but I'm gonna show you some principles and some other concepts about this. I have been serving the Agricultural Training Institute and Bureau of Agricultural Research, and there are two divisions only crafted very new, the High Value Crop Division and the Special Project Division. So I provided the service and training to all the officers, including the 16 regions head and their staff in the past 2 years. Now, please take note that the Department of Agriculture in the Philippines has 8 bureaus. There are 9 attached agencies. There are 8 attached corporations, and there are 16 regional offices. Next slide, please.
You have 9 minutes, Professor.
9
minutes more.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Take two. Now, what I'm showing you here is the theory of change model that we built participatorily for a long time after so many debates or even quarrels among the regional participants, heads, and even in the central office. We came up with this agricultural theory of change, and based on policy statement, we focus on the impact of increased competitiveness of clients. We were able to identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 outcome indicators or outcome statements, including the impact, which is increased competitiveness. Based on this process of identifying the inputs, activities, output, immediate, intermediate, and the impact or the long term. Now, this is the model that is being used to determine what change is desired of the agriculture. Let me work on discuss the next slide. Now, please take note, we have here identified the different one, and we identified the indicators, around 28 of them, increased competitiveness of the clients. And this has passed through many debates and refinements still being done even this time, although it has already published and about to be rolled out. We were able to conduct baseline study for this already and ready for rolling out, but we need to have to train many people in the regional areas. But because of the pandemic, we will cut short. It's a little bit stuck, but stuff. Now, let me have the next slide, please. And these are the output indicators. Please take note. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here in the RBM system is that in departments in the Philippines, there are movements, but not the different agencies. Very notable here in Department of Agriculture and the Department of, Labor, and even in the DBM and Department of Social Welfare, they have movements in the RBMNE, but not many departments are still basic or even none. So that's my experience here in the Department of Agriculture. Now, interconnectivity or integration, that's still a long way to go because we have to train all the regions, although they are very favorable to this, to set up that technical networks and technical and the logistics and everything. Next slide, please. Another experience that I want to share is the ASEAN RBMNE system. I was commissioned by the ASEAN, the 10 countries, states of ASEAN, including Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Cambodia, and many others, Thailand. That was I think that was July 2018 in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. We have the high-level forum for the social protection of the high-level commission. Then we were able to come up with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 also outcome statements, including the impact. But here they are inclined to measure this, and this is approved by the ministries. Next slide, please. Now, this is a very small, I'm sorry for that, this is very big, but I want to divide this so that you can see. This is the results framework, including the indicators that we have identified. Next slide, please. We're gonna take the first half, the top.
Yeah, this is very relevant, Professor, because we have so many participants from Social Affairs Office here.
Thank you. What we notice, and I and Umi noticed too, when we get to some organization or even departments or even groups, and we work with them, we would be shocked to see so many indicators to begin with, even hundreds of them, thousands of them, without identifying the outcome statement or the results that you are trying to cover by the indicators. I will explain that later on when we get to the SDGs. Please take note, reduced poverty is one of the outcome or results, or even the long-term or impact that they want to measure. We were able to identify 6 indicators here through the help of debates, argumentations in the plenary during the high-level meeting in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Please take note of the indicators. Also, we were able to identify reduced vulnerabilities, reduce inequalities, and reduce risk. Now, theory of change work like this. There must be a very strong logic of causation, causal pathway to change. The desired change is this, the main, reduce poverty. Now, we are assuming that if we have reduced the risk, we could have reduced inequalities. We could have reduced vulnerabilities. But when all of these 3 are attained, we will have reduced poverty. That's how the concept works. All in all, we have identified minimum number of indicators, not 1,000, not by the hundreds. And that is actually how we do establish RBMNE system. Can we have the lower part, please? Take note, we have this reduced risk a while ago. Now, the lower outcomes are improved human capacities and improved partnership. Following the same concept, if we have improved the human capacities and we improve partnership, we will have reduced risk because they are prepared. And so we have here, this is a very ticklish, very painful participatory process that was done by the ASEAN member states, including debates and substitution of the indicators. And I hope they will continue to roll it out. These are approved already by the member states. Let me move on to the other slide.
Sorry, Professor, you have 3 minutes more.
3 minutes only. It's about the SDGs. The SDGs is actually an agenda that is very, very hard. All of the countries, right? In the UN, we have 193 member states. The tendency of the UN is to throw to us or toss to us this very nice concept, and we are left to strategize on 2 aspects: how to implement the SDGs and how to measure or evaluate. We are at a loss. Please take note that we are given only 17 goals, not only, but it is very hard. Too many goals, very hard to measure. Now, the thing is, we were given thousands of indicators. How do we measure SDGs if we have thousands of indicators? And the fact that what we have are goals. In practice of RBMNE, we do not necessarily take the goal statement so that we can identify readily the indicators. We have to re-articulate from the goals. For instance, number 1 is no poverty. That is close to outcome statement. Maybe improve or reduce poverty could be outcome statement, identify the indicators. Now, how about this, number 15, number 14? This is about life on water. If that could be taken as a goal statement and we identify indicators, what indicators it could be? In the practice of evaluation and following the rule, we may say, okay, number of pieces, number of sharks in the ocean. That would be awful in measuring. That's why we cannot directly use this agenda or this goal. We have to re-articulate from this. Now, there are some working groups in the IOCE. We have mainly the Eval SDGs tackling this. We have Eval Youth, Eval Gender, where Umi was I think an officer there, and so many others. But what is the score? What is the real score right now? When we were in Helsinki with Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, it seems that Finland was a little advanced because they were already evaluating their national agenda in SDGs. But basically, we are very slow. As of this moment, it's still being a challenge on how to have a comprehensive method of measuring the attainment of SDGs. And what about the pandemic that causes and influence very much of our energies and efforts in attaining the SDGs. So right now we are really cramming how to identify and formulate methodology, a comprehensive methodology of attaining the SDGs. Can I have the next slide, please? Now I have here a list of some countries who show or demonstrate advancement in results-based M&E system. For example, in Finland, in Europe, they have done national evaluation and implementation of 2030 agenda, where we have the last 2018, I think, with Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, we were able to present some the status in different countries and the level of the competence we have and how to approach evaluation of the SDGs. We have South Africa, well known for that. They have a hub or facility for engaging different sectors. In Asia, we have Nepal, India. I talk about the Philippines. And in South America, and Colombia and Costa Rica. There are a lot more countries, but I only chose this, their experience in the results-based M&E system. Next slide, please. I think I have to cut from that, and because my time is already over. And I would like to thank you all, and I hope all the best to all of you after this event. And I know that you are balancing very much, and we learn a lot from you. I hope that my presentation would be of value to you, although country-wise you are actually following you. You are more advanced than the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Romeo, for a very thoughtful presentations. So I reflect that you mentioned a very important point on the openness in communication. That is the precondition for having an integrated and connected system. Healthy communication, common language, and one line of thought. So the thing is, open communication require mutual trust and respect, right? So we believe that we can discuss that later. So now we move to Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi. So he will present about the advantage, implementation challenges, harmonization strategies, and also the integration of national and regional development performance evaluation system. So before I give the floor to Honorable Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi, I will read his brief profile. So Dr. Tawfiq is currently hold a very important evaluation role in the country. He is the Deputy Minister for Development Monitoring, Evaluation, and Control Affairs. So we are very lucky to have him here. Thank you, Dr. Tawfiq. So before this position, he was the Senior Advisor, the Minister of Social and Economics of Education, and also Acting Director General for Early Child, Non-Formal and Informal Educations from the Ministry of Education. He was also a Director for Religious Affairs and Education from the Ministry of National Development Planning, or Bappenas. He is very active in participating to the international meetings in areas of education, culture, monitoring, and evaluation of SDGs, including in Finland, USA, Germany, and many other countries and regions across the world. So many experience he will share with us today. So he was also, he is until today, the member of the technical team of project preparation, bilateral and multilateral cooperation, consisting Bappenas, the Ministry of Development Planning, Ministry of Finance, and also other respective ministries like an institution like the World Bank, GIZ, JICA, and many others. So he earned his doctoral of philosophy in the field of urban technology and environmental planning, College of Architecture and Urban Planning, University of Michigan, in the USA. So I think Dr. Tawfiq also have some common interest with Professor Romeo here. So he also the alumni from the Bandung Institute Technology from the same alma mater with Dr. Indra here. So without having more long introductions, I would like to give the floor to Honorable Dr. Insinyur Tawfiq Hanafi. Pak Tawfiq, the floor is yours. Pak Tawfiq, we also have a participant coming from Kenya and also Sri Lanka. So Mark, Chiku, welcome. Thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Umi, for very generous introduction. I also very glad to see Professor Romeo Santos. It's been a while. I can see from here you look very healthy and happy. So that's the important, yes, healthy and happy. So thank you, Professor Romeo, for the very illuminating and important presentation. That's you also spread very positive energy. It's very motivating. I can feel right here in Jakarta. Even I believe that my colleagues in West Java also feel the same as I feel now. So thank you for the presentation and the motivation about the very critical and importance of the monitoring and evaluation, especially for supporting development, not only at the national level, but also at regional, even at the district level, because I believe right now is joining us not only from international participants, but also across district at the province of West Java. So thank you very much. And I also want to thank Pak Iwan for the opening remarks, and also Pak Indra for the remarks. That's also very important. I'd like to start with the, my presentation I will share, or you okay. Okay. I would like to highlight why now in the future the role of the evaluations is becoming more and more important, especially in Indonesia. First, there is several reasons. First, the public accountability. because the public expenditures in Indonesia now is growing and growing. Now is 2021 is almost 200 billion US dollars public expenditure. That's about 15% of our GDP actually. It's about 200 billion US dollars. So that's why the accountability, public accountability becoming very critical, because public will be asking what is the output, the outcome of such huge public expenditure. That's the first one. The second one is that the the importance of evidence-based policy. Evidence-based policy, of course, the role of the evaluation is very critical to provide evidence, strong and credible evidence for formulating a policy, public policy. So that's and the last one is that because the evaluation and monitoring and evaluation is not merely the responsibility of the government, because now many non-state actors also participating in conducting evaluation. So that's why given the open government spirit, so we in the future, I think in website Bapenas, we provide a lot of information regarding the evaluation, because the scope of the evaluations conducted in Bapenas, Ministry of National Development Planning, or Bapenas, or NEDA in Philippines, is not only providing the evaluation at the national level, because at the national level we also conducting the evaluation for the medium-term development plan, and also we conducting what mid-term medium-term development plan. We also conducting annual plans, evaluation for annual plan. So and also we conducting what we call the regional evaluation in collaboration with the local government. So actually there are many evaluations that we conducted, including thematic evaluation. So because I can give you example like in poverty, we also conducting the poverty evaluation, especially related with public policy and programs dedicated to poverty alleviation. So that's give you some perspective, the scope and what we're doing, especially in conducting monitoring and evaluation. So I will start with, as also Professor Romeo mentioned, about the legal framework. Legal framework is also very important to make sure that we have enabling ecosystem for monitoring in evaluation. So that's why we have like a law, we also have a government regulation, and also we have also ministerial regulation to make sure that the we create very conducive ecosystem for conducting monitoring and evaluation. So the monitoring and evaluation is not limited responsibility central government, but also responsibility line ministries and also local governments, plus also a society, because right now there are many non-state actors also participating in conducting the monitoring and evaluation. Especially, I can give you example. Recently, government also provide very huge public intervention, public programs, especially in response to COVID-19 pandemic. So in social sector, in economic sector, we have a lot of programs dedicated to respond to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's I hope this will help you to better understand the context of Indonesia. Where is the position of monitoring and evaluation in the cycle of development? Because monitoring and evaluation is one of the critical ingredients in development management in Indonesia. So this is a legal framework to support our endeavor in conducting better and quality monitoring in evaluation. Next, this is also as I mentioned that ministerial regulation, Ministry of Bappena's regulation to support how to conduct e-monitoring and evaluation. We have a system, e-MONEV, we call e-MONEV. It's including, covering all line ministries, all the budget, all the programs. We can monitor the activities and also budgets conducted by line ministries. Okay, next. Okay, so this is our presidents also.
Pak Tawfiq, your mic is muted. Sorry.
Maybe from hosting. No. Okay. 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 President Joko Widodo also give assignment to Ministry of Development Planning and our Bappenas as acting as what we call the clearinghouse. Clearinghouse means that because a lot of programs, projects are proposed by line ministries that we need to review to make sure that there is integration, synchronization between programs and projects. So that's why it's very important we have mechanism to make sure that at the planning process and also as the budgeting process, we also review the progress, especially for very strategic programs, not all, because we will be, running out of energy and resources if we don't use to set the priority, which programs, which projects that we need to pay attention. Yeah, that's what we doing with the MONEV and also clearinghouse. Okay, next. Okay, next slide, please. This is the types of evaluations that we doing, in the cycle of development process. What we call the ex-ante evaluation, performance evaluations, implementation process, and also strategic policy evaluation. As I mentioned that, because there is several strategic program or project, so we conducted what we call the thematic evaluation. So there are 4 different types of evaluation that we conducting during the cycle of development in Indonesia. So next slide, please. This is the National Development Evaluation Framework. So as we can see here, actually because the Ministry of Planning should regularly send and report the progress of development to the president. So that's why we have mechanism how the linkage with line ministries. The line ministries should send and update their progress within what we call the e-monitoring and evaluation. We have a system developed in Bappeda in conducting monitoring in evaluation, especially for line ministries at the central level. So as Pa Indra mentioned, where we still have huge homework how to integrate monitoring system at the central level and the local level, regional level. That's still our huge challenge to integrate the system. Next slide, please. Okay, this is what we call the e-monitoring and evaluation framework. So, so we reviewing and updating the system regularly to make sure that the system is user-friendly and also updating given the, because the programs and also the requirements also keep changing. So that's why it's important to make sure that our system is updated and also user-friendly. So we can we can monitor how is the performance of each line ministries based on the information actually updated by also line ministries. So we have the system to make sure that the progress of development. The challenge is that the line ministries should update the data, the information on their planning and their budgeting every year. And also because it's involving a lot of data and information, we also pay attention on the quality of the data, the quality. So we can monitor whether a certain line ministries already fulfill their obligation. We have the system, whether how many line ministries already fulfill their responsibility updating the data given certain periods. That's kind of mechanism is supported by legal framework, So that's why it's very important. The legal framework is to make sure that we have enabling ecosystem for monitoring and evaluation. Next slide, please. This is the more detailed flow of the information about the implementation procedure control, because we have a number of different documents like medium-term development, annual plan, and also a budget and allocation. And this very important information as the basis to monitor and also evaluate the progress, the performance of the program conducted by line ministries. Next. This is more detail. There's some combination. Sorry, this is using Bahasa and also using in my presentations. Thank you, Ibu Umi, for helping. Yes, this is the integrated monitoring and controlling. So the achievement of the program, we need to put attention on certain program and strategic program or also the project, because there are so many program and project. So that's why we need to pay attention to certain program and project. So we monitor the progress, so we can see certain activities, program, whether the progress is dissatisfactory or satisfactory. We have certain interval, a standard to measure and evaluate the progress. Yeah. So that's this information about the evaluation is actually we put on Bappena's website, so we can see how's the progress, the implementation of the program. And what we use, we also conducted the annual plan. Our annual plan is also used by the president, because presidents give annual speech in front of parliament. So Bappenas is responsible to provide that kind of information, the progress of development. So that's what Bappenas doing, and we also working very closely with line ministries and also with local government. Okay, next, please. This is the synergy and strategy, of course, the monitoring and evaluations mechanism, harmonization, also the regulation is very important element to make sure that we creating very conducive the ecosystem. Next. This is Professor Romeo and also the participant. I want to highlight the government now have what we call the initiative called the e-governance, e-governance, electronic government. So the scope of the e-governance is starting from e-planning, e-budgeting, e-procurements, e-monitoring and evaluation, even this is e-payments, and also complaint and handling system. So e-planning and budgeting is a responsibility of Bappenas to make sure we develop that kind of application. And now is in the process, the challenge is the integration, because so many systems now at the central and also at the local level. So that's why we have what we call presidential regulations on the e-government. And also we have presidential regulation is One Data Indonesia. One Data Indonesia is very important to make sure that we have credible and quality data and information. One Data Indonesia is merely focusing on the data governance, because we, our stakeholders is involving over 500 districts, 34 provinces, and also almost 100 line ministries. So it's very huge, very huge. So that's why the data governance becoming very critical to make sure that flow of information, metadata, standard data is also, taken care of in the system. So we have what we call One Data Indonesia, is focusing on the data governance. So make sure that every institution, they have what we call data manager, something like that, to make sure that before they share the data and information, the data and information has been reviewed and clear and also credible before they share the data at the public. So we call that, we apply one of the principle in the One Data Indonesia is interoperability to make sure that the data and information should be using the standard data as formulated in One Data Indonesia. Okay, next. This is the more detail. We have the One Data Indonesia is we have one standard data. We have interoperability principles. We also have the forum to make sure that we have clear collaboration and communication, and also we have what we call the data custodian. Data custodian is very critical. Each line ministries, they only have one data custodian. One local governments, they only have one data custodian to make sure that the data has been clear, been reviewed before they share to different line ministries or before they share to public. Next. This is I'll give you also what we the programs that Bappedna's been doing in the last decade, what we call the conducting development evaluation practices. We also providing regional development awards. The award is witnessed directly and also by the president during the consultation meeting, national consultation meeting. Yeah. Next. So we also this is give you a picture how the presidents provided the award to governor and also mayor every year. Yes, but the given now is during the pandemic we conducted in virtual, not in the physical manner. So this is a give you example of the central Java governor, yeah, receiving the award from the president directly. So this also gives some motivation to local government to keep improving their innovation, their program, the performance that can benefiting to their society. Okay, next. So I think that's come to the end. So thank you very much. So I can give you, I can share with you that the scope of the monitoring and evaluation that conducted in Indonesia, and also the rationale why monitoring and evaluation is becoming very, very important and critical, not only now, but also in the future. And also the basic principles that monitoring and evaluation should be conducted in collaborative manner. The involving line ministries and local government is very critical. Another important challenge is the data quality of the data and information. So I think what Professor Romeo presented, I think is very important to to strengthen our monitoring and evaluation system, and also how to make sure that our resources, including human staffing resources, and also institution capacity, also infrastructure, is also are also very important to make sure that we have strong and credible mechanism of monitoring and evaluation system. Thank you very much, Ibu Umi. Mudah-mudahan ini bisa membantu penjelasan. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Dr. Tawfiq. Thank you for a very impressive presentations. So we can give an applause to all our panelists, Dr. Indra, Professor Romeo, and also Dr. Tawfiq Hanafi for a very impressive presentations, and also give some provocative thought about how to address challenges in terms of integrating and also connecting the vertical and horizontal system. So we have around 15 minutes for discussions. So I believe that participants have some question or burning issues to raise here. So we have Dr. Indra and also Dr. Tawfiq, also Professor Romeo. So we have many areas to discuss here. Bapak Ibu silakan, chatroom juga kami buka untuk diskusi. Mohon bantuannya Pak Fajar untuk dibuka. Silakan Bapak Ibu, mic-nya di unmute. So Bapak Ibu, please you can raise your question. Unmuting your mic. Pak Jamaah, silakan.
Boleh saya bertanya dengan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia saja, Bu Umi?
Silakan Pak, silakan.
Baik, saya bertanya kepada Pak Tawfiq dari Bappenas. Beliau mengemukakan bahwa perencanaan itu berbasis data atau satu data. Tapi saya melihat terutama dari data DTKS, tidak sekedar pemerintah ini tidak sekedar punya data, tetapi kualitas data yang dimiliki daerah itu tidak qualified. Misal data yang ada yang kita pakai ini bantuan sosial itu adalah data tahun 2015. Tapi sampai sekarang data itu terutama di wilayah NTB sebagian itu belum terupdate dengan baik sehingga bantuan itu tidak tepat sasaran. Maka mungkin saya pikir disinilah posisi MONEV itu sangat diperlukan di pemerintah. Terima kasih Umi.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Jamaah. So Pak Jamaah is from West Nusa Tenggara, from civil society organization, but dealing with social affairs issues in province and also district city level in Lombok. So Doctor, so we can have another 2 question perhaps. 2 pertanyaan lagi Bapak Ibu. Pak Jamaah nanti dijawab ya. Kita tambah. Baik.
Terima kasih.
Silakan Bapak Ibu. Silakan, atau ada yang mau bisa juga ditulis di chat room. Silakan. Kalau nggak ada dijawab dulu mungkin sambil menunggu. So Pak Tawfiq, Pak Jamaah raise a very important questions about database policy planning. So regarding his context, so he's dealing highly with social affairs issues. So there is a fact that the local data on targeting for the poor and disadvantaged people there is not updated. So the data is based on 2015, but until today, the updating is less advanced. So to what extent do you think this one data policy may address these issues, and also to what extent is actually the current situations? Thank you, Pak.
Oke, thank you. Terima kasih Pak Jamaah. Pertanyaannya luar biasa. Profesor Romeo, Mr. Jamaah is coming from West Nusa Tenggara. West Nusa Tenggara is the same time zone as Philippines. And now is West Nusa Tenggara is about 6 o'clock. As in Philippines. Okay. We also conducted, micro review. We also provide and facilitate local governments. What we just done a couple of months ago, in the frame of One Data Indonesia, we work together with local governments, Yogyakarta province, DIY. So we found that in practice, every dinas, office, local office, because in local government you have many local offices. It's like health office, social welfare office, education office. that in the practice, every local government offices proposing, every local government office proposing, about who will get social assistance. So we found that in Yogyakarta, it's very interesting. We found many, data that we found that overlapping data. So that's why what we doing right now is local government need to assign one custodians, data custodians. That the data custodian is responsible to select, to filter, to review the data coming from different offices. So that's why I think one of the important challenges about the One Data Indonesia is, as I mentioned, as data governance, and also how to implement that, because it's still new, of course. There's still a lot of homework to address that kind of a challenge. So of course, One Data is the one of the main goal of the One Data Indonesia is to make sure we produce credible, quality data. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Taufik. Any more questions? Bapak, Ibu, ada pertanyaan? Boleh disampaikan dalam bahasa Indonesia? Ya. Kalau tidak ada, mungkin ada tambahan dari panelis atau Pak Indra. Oh ya, silakan Ibu dari Dinsos Provinsi Jabar. Ibu, ya silakan Bu.
Ya. Oke, thank you Miss Umi. Singkat saja, bagaimana cara melakukan MONEV atau controlling itu bisa berhasil secara step by step-nya, and bagaimana kalau misalnya kesuksesan itu ada suatu kendala dan apa yang harus kita lakukan kembali gitu. Terima kasih Umi.
Dengan Ibu siapa? Mohon maaf.
Saya dengan Dewi Sulastri dari Dinsos Jabar.
Oh, baik. Ibu, pertanyaannya ditujukan secara khusus atau semua diharapkan bisa menjawab?
Boleh, siapa aja.
Baik. Baik, so Dr. Tawfiq and also Professor Romeo Santos. So Ibu Sulastri from Social Affairs Office in West Java Province raised a question on how actually to conduct a step-by-step monitoring regarding her local or close to her context, which is social issues. So reflecting from the result-based approach and also the available system, both national and also regional. So who would like to start, Dr. Tawfiq or Professor Romeo?
Profesor Romeo, silakan kalau mau merespon duluan.
Thank you for the question. Thank you, Dr. Tawfiq, for that very impressive presentation. First of all, really very advanced that you have there in Indonesia. Now, regarding the question, I don't know if I got it right. It's about the issue of monitoring, how to do step-by-step implementation.
Yes, how to conduct the step-by-step monitoring system.
Only monitoring, separate from evaluation. That right?
Both, I guess, because
monitoring and evaluation.
Yes.
First of all, I would. This is my response based on the question. We have to understand, of course, to understand the point that monitoring is different from evaluation. Monitoring is a routine collection of data, keep tracking of the implementation, and that's why it's a continuous process of keeping track of the development in the program implementation. We normally and regularly collect data based on the plan. Evaluation is periodic. Maybe we learn from the presentation of Honorable Dr. Tawfiq. We have the ex ante, which is before the project is implemented or the program. We have, of course, the formative, perhaps, or the midterm evaluation. We have the close to the end evaluation or impact evaluation, perhaps our 3 years, the expose. Now, evaluation is perhaps limited by time, meaning it is time bound. It could be three months, 4 months, or even less than a year. So that's the difference between monitoring and evaluation. So when we establish monitoring in an MNE system, it depends, of course, in many factors. One is that if it were an RB-MNE system, the importance of our plan for how the outcomes are to be measured, identification of this outcome statement, what is the final desired change that we want or the impact, very much related to articulation or establishment of the theory of change of the organization of the program. And then when we identify the outcome statement, we identify the indicators. The indicators are actually very correspondent to the data that we will collect. Please, we understand that there are so many data in the field. And we could exert all our efforts collecting the data. There are those that are not necessarily needed. There are static data. There are very important data. If we do not have a plan, which is based on the results-based MNE system with a link with the theory of change model, what are the impacts, the outcomes, and then the indicators, we could be perhaps missing the point of getting the data from the ground zero source of it. If I were to give you an example, for instance, if there is a program of climate change resilience in a particular province in Indonesia or in the Philippines, with a budget, say, of 50 million US dollars, what is the change being ambitioned by this intervention? It's about climate change resilience for a particular province. What is the desired change? It could be an improved resilience. That's the impact of the communities in the provinces. So from then on, we build the causal pathway and identify the outcomes from the low or the short-term outcomes to the midterm and then to the impact. That is actually the pathway to the, or the causal pathway to the change. If we do not identify the outcomes and the indicators, we do not have a lead on what data to collect. We will just do the conventional way of just getting the data, going to the site. We don't have a roadmap for that. So we have to establish the RBNA system with the help of theory of change or other models to identify the outcome statements, the impact, and then the indicators. The indicator is very, very close to the data. For instance, if the outcome statement or the impact statement improve resiliency in a particular province, say in Indonesia or in the Philippines, improve resiliency, and we identified, for instance, the number of people or percent of communities saying they have an improved resilience. This is actually what a question in the survey, perhaps a perception survey, which is very useful in evaluation. How do we get, for instance, the far away ground zero source of data, the lowest barangay, and how do you call that in Indonesia, the lowest community, where you have the data to be obtained? So we could get that the percent of people saying they have an improved resilience through different tools of getting the data. If we just go to the provinces and the communities without that lead, it will be very hard for us to collect the data that is needed. Remember that we have, in the Philippines, for instance, we have the PSO, the Philippine Statistics Office, and I know that you have also the National Statistics Office. Many of those data are for reporting, and they call it actually static data. Many data that we get from big data, existing data that you collect, are for the purpose of reporting. But when we are actually looking for data for evaluation and monitoring. Those are the real-time data that we get when we do the evaluation. Thank you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah, it's very relevant. So now to Dr. Tawfiq, please. And also perhaps with the relation of Sirampak Sekar and SIPD, Pak.
Yeah, I think what Professor Romeo just explained, I think is quite clear and comprehensive, because basically before you conducting the monitoring or evaluation, you need to have a clear goals. Yeah, what's the goals you want to monitor? So we have to have like logical, as presented in Professor Romeo in his presentation. I think it's quite clear the frame of conducting monitoring or evaluation. So I think what we're doing right now, Ibu Umi, I think is also one of the important efforts to strengthen our capacity in conducting the monitoring and evaluation at the local level. So I think I hope that this is not once event, but this could be a continuous effort to strengthen our evaluation, monitoring and evaluation community, not only at the regional level, but also at the national level. I think we still have a lot of homework, especially as Pak Indra mentioned, how to integrate the system at the national and the regional level. And even within the line ministries, we still have homework to deal with in future. Thank you, Bu. Makasih, mudah-mudahan bisa merespon yang tadi Ibu Dewi ya. Jadi terima kasih nih Bu Dewi. Yang penting semangat terus ini. Saya lihat dari sini kelihatannya semangat terus ini. Terima kasih, Bu.
Terima kasih Pak Taufik untuk motivasinya. Kita boleh optimis ke depan bahwa diskusi-diskusi atau pemikiran-pemikiran MONEV akan terus berkembang dan diskusi yang sifatnya multi arah ini juga bisa terus berlanjut. So Dr. Tawfiq and also Professor Romeo, Dr. Indra, so we are running out of time, but I would like to give like one more question perhaps from the participant, if that allow. Bapak, okay, thank you. Bapak Ibu, mungkin ada satu pertanyaan lagi, silakan sebelum kami kembalikan ke Pak Iwan dan Pak Indra untuk closing. Ada lagi pertanyaan? Tidak ada? Baik. Bapak Ibu, terima kasih atas perhatiannya, Dr. Tawfiq, Professor Romeo, and also Dr. Indra. So I would like to give some wrap up here. So basically, result-based monitoring and evaluation system or discussion gives some philosophical thought as well as practical guidance in producing change in the way government and also organization operate, leading to improved performance, accountability, transparency, learning, and knowledge. So result-based monitoring and evaluation system should be considered as a working in progress. So continuous attention, resources, and political commitment are needed to ensure their viability and sustainability. So like Dr. Tawfiq said at the end of his remarks here, so we would like to ensure that this discussion is not the last one. We will have more discussion in the future into 2021. And I would like to apologize if the facilitation of this session have some limitation. Tapi pada dasarnya kami ucapkan terima kasih banyak atas partisipasi Bapak Ibu semuanya mengikuti seluruh sesi. Terima kasih terutama kepada Dr. Indra dan juga Dr. Tawfiq dan Profesor Romeo. So we would like to give the floor back to Pak Iwan and also Pak Indra for closing. And also
Okay.
one more one last word perhaps. Merry Christmas to Professor Romeo. We will have a holiday tomorrow, so all the best. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes, thank for all presenters, Professor Romeo, Dr. Tawfiq, Dr. Indra, Mbak Umi, and all ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the participants. Finally, we come to the closing part of today's seminar. We will share the material via Google Drive as well as the e-certificate. We arrive at the end and closing session of our seminar today. May we all be healthy, maintain health protocols. MONEV Studio is preparing a 2021 MONEV seminar with a more interesting and relevant and useful theme. Before we close, let's take a photo together and see you at the upcoming MONEV Studio seminar. See you at the Daerah seminar and the next event from MONEV Studio. We are more interesting and relevant themes. Thank you. Goodbye.
Foto dulu ya. Mohon dinyalakan
Kita foto
videonya,
sama.
Bapak Ibu.
Yuk semua.
Dinyalakan videonya. 1, 2, 3. Satu lagi. 1, 2, 3. Yang lain nggak ada slide-nya, nggak ada videonya. Ya. Baik, Bapak Ibu, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat berlibur, sehat selalu. Terima kasih banyak. Terima kasih
Waalaikumsalam
Pak
warahmatullahi
Tawfiq.
wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Ya, oke.
Thank you Profesor Romeo. Terima kasih Pak
Thank you,
Taufik.
Merry
Terima kasih.
Christmas untuk yang lainnya semua.
Romeo.
Ya, oke.
Terima kasih
Terima
Pak
kasih.
Dokter
Taufiq.
jamaah.
Salam sehat.
Thank you for
Tetap
meeting.
semangat
Salam
semua ya.
sehat. Terima kasih Pak Dokter.
Iya, thank you.
Kami pun selamat.
Bro. Oke. Thank you very much.
In live.
Terima kasih, silakan.
Assalamualaikum
Terima kasih Pak
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Jamaah.
Terima kasih
Waalaikumsalam.
Bu Umi.
Terima kasih Pak. Terima kasih Bu Sulastri, Pak Yayat, Bu Tami, Bu Rizka, Pak Awen, Pak Norman.
Terima kasih Pak Iwan.
Terima kasih.
Oke.
Terima kasih Bapak Ibu, Pak Yayan,
Ini
Bu
Ibu
Enu.
Anita, Pak NTB, Pak Suryadi,
Pak Suryadi,
Ye.
Ibu Nong,
Bu
Ye.
Nung,
Ibu Lisda, Ibu Lu Gede Ratna, dan Ibu Nyoman.
Ibu Nyoman.
Dari Tabalong.
Thank you, Ciku. Ciku from
Ciku, Prof. Romeo.
from Kenya or Sri Lanka?
Oke, pamit.
Terima kasih
Assalamualaikum.
Bapak. Terima kasih semuanya. Kami pamit dulu.
Ye.
Oh ya, Ciku from Kenya. So, can you give your comment? Are you happy with the presentations? Sorry, we don't have luxury times to discuss more. But I hope the materials is really useful back home for your country. Thank you, Ciku. Are you alone here or with the other colleagues?
Together with Leonard.
Oh, Leonard. Okay. Oh,
Leonard
thank
Yos.
you. Leonard is also from Kenya. Okay. Thanks
Yes.
for joining our
Yes, sir.
event. Thank you, thank you. Oke.
Thank you for
Baik.
all.
Baik Bapak Ibu, kami pamit dulu ya. Semuanya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.